Mkhwanazi fans, gather, let's celebrate another victory, because one of the major enemies trying to implicate our saint and national hero, Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, has yet again failed woefully. Before we proceed, if AA, true fan and supporter of Mkhwanazi, hit the like button, comment Viva Mkhwanazi and subscribe for more sweet stories. Cat Matlala, who in conjunction with IDAC has secretly planned to find all the possible means to implicate Lieutenant Mkhwanazi, tried to get an 8-year prison term so that he can become a state witness in order to tell lies against our hero, was denied the appeal. What happened today in court has never happened before, but all the mainstream media in support of Cat Matlala has taken down all the videos to prevent Mkhwanazi supporters from seeing it. Don't panic, take a sit and get a cup of coffee, because I have compiled everything, not only what happened in court, but from where the whole problem started from at the Ad Hoc Committee. Are you ready? Let's go. Jabulani, roll out the clip where Matlala fabricated a story about meeting Lieutenant Mkhwanazi for a criminal deal with General Senona before we proceed to how he was disgraced in court.
When I met with General Mkhwanazi, he said to me, yes, I hear about your problem that you're having, so that that they don't give you guys enough work. They just send work in drips and drabs so that they don't breach their contract. But actually, if it was according to them, they wouldn't send any purchase orders at all. They just send small purchase orders so that they can just keep you entertained. So, but they're saying actually what they want to do is cancel this contract. So, and he said to me, they actually met. He said there was a police summit in somewhere in Emperor's Palace, and he's saying, during that summit, after the summit, I think, he said to me, General Nkowa asked National Commissioner Fani Masemola that when are they actually cancelling my contract? And Fani Masemola said that, this is what I heard from General Mkhwanazi. Fani Masemola said that, listen, I spoke with the minister. Remember last year, December, he gave a directive that we must cancel this contract, but now I asked him that I cannot continue, and then it looks like he is backing down now. So National Commissioner Masemola, according to Mkhwanazi, he said, I suspect that this Mchunu is working with Sibiya now, and then he no longer want to cancel the contract, because I suspect that they will send this guy, meaning me, to come and kill me, and then they must put General Sibiya as the National Commissioner. And Mkhwanazi said to me that, I said to National Commissioner that, Commissioner, if you think that your life is in danger, just say the word. I will take care of this cat. Then I asked him, what did you mean when you say that he must just say a word and then you will take care of me? And he told me that there is only one way that I can take care of you permanently. But he didn't say it in like kill you, but he just said to me that there is only one way that I can take care of you permanently. And I said, but what was the reason for that? Because he told me that they suspect that why will suddenly the minister decide not to cancel the contract anymore, but before that he was the one actually who said we must cancel this contract. So he said to me, he told Fadima Samola that he will call the commander of special force, and then they must give him a armored car from now on, because his life is in danger. And he was saying all these things to show me that General Nkowa was pushing for this contract to be cancelled. And then he said to me further that she's doing this because she was working with the previous service provider, and then they were giving her a lot of money. That's why she could afford to buy properties and convert them into B&Bs. And he even gave me one address of her properties, which I wrote it down later. And then when I came back to Pretoria, I went there actually to check the property, and then I even took a street number and pictures of that property that he said is one of the properties that she owns, and there's no way that she can afford such properties with a salary from SAPS. So now, if you want her to come and work with you, are you going to offer her the same incentives that Metropolitan was offering her? then I knew that I was very in deep trouble than I thought I was. Because of now, he was saying, there is no way a woman like a general like her that she will just dump people who were offering so much money and come work with you. It's either when I tell her that she must come work with you, then you will continue doing what these people they were doing to her. And then, but he said, there's conditions though. I also want you to do something for me. And I asked him, what is it? He said, there is a case opened against him from IPID, in IPID. So he said there's a guy that they tortured, and the guy that they tortured opened a case against them, and then I must convince, because the guy stays, I also have a house in Midstream. So he said, because you stay in Midstream, I'll tell you the name of the guy and check if you know the guy. And I said, tell me, and then Midstream is not that big. Maybe I might know the guy. And he told me the name of the guy, and I told him, actually, this guy, his son goes to the same school as my son. So, but what I will do is, I will ask my wife to ask his wife if he can facilitate a meeting for me to meet the guy, so that I can convince him. And he said, I must tell the guy that, listen, he must drop the charges against him, and also he must add that the people who actually compelled him to lay charges against him is Minister Mchunu and General Sibiya. However, I couldn't get the guy and convince him to do what he wanted to do. And I thought maybe that was one of the reasons also that maybe I got arrested, because I didn't deliver what I promised him. So that was the purpose of my meeting with him there in the Pels.
Are you sure that you didn't meet General Mkhwanazi because you, in exchange for assistance to get the purchase orders placed with you, pursuant to the contract, that you were prepared to offer him information on Sibiya?
I don't follow your question.
I said, are you sure that the purpose of this meeting with General Mkhwanazi was not that he would have been prepared to speak to the head of HR to place orders on the contract which was then awarded to you? It hadn't been cancelled yet. But it would be in exchange for information about Sibiya.
So if I get this right, you're saying the purpose of my meeting was for me to give General Mkhwanazi information about Sibiya.
Now let's watch the court video where he tried his possible best to get himself out, but his appeal was denied. This is actually a very serious issue, and Lieutenant Mkhwanazi must belt up because they are coming for him soon. When the issue got out of hand in court, he got angry and fired his own lawyers. He thought he can win the war against our hero, but this is just the tip of an iceberg. Jabulani, roll out the court clip where he was left in tears before we go to the clip where Lieutenant Mkhwanazi made his own declaration.
The principal figure, the instigator in this fraudulent and corrupt venture. High-ranking officials may well have been involved, but their involvement appears to have followed upon the initiative of accused one. Although the law permits the counts to be taken together for the purpose of sentence, to do so, in taking all 7 counts together for the purpose of sentence, as agreed, may cause an imbalance, and as a result, an unjust sentence. Therefore, my earlier specific reference to the serious nature of the offences of corruption and money laundering. The National Prosecuting Authority and the accused set out circumstances they view as substantial and compelling, which may move the court to consider a sentence outside those preferred under minimum sentence legislation. These are recorded in Exhibit D, paragraph G, on page 16. Section 105A, subsection 7B, Roman 2 of the Criminal Procedure Act requires that the court must have due regard to prescribed minimum sentences governed by Act 105 of 1997, even at considering whether a plea and sentence agreement is just. On the count of fraud, a period of 15 years imprisonment is ordained. I have duly considered the submissions by the National Prosecuting Authority and the accused, and in applying the principle laid down in S v. Malgas 2002-2 SA 1222 Supreme Court of Appeal, I find that where minimum sentence legislation applies, substantial and compelling circumstances do exist. The record will reflect these circumstances as those referred to in Exhibit D. Though I have rejected accused one's willingness to assist the authorities as a sign of remorse, I do acknowledge the fact that accused one is cooperating in the ongoing investigation and agreed to participate and cooperate in future ventures by the National Prosecuting Authority to bring other alleged criminals to book. I am therefore satisfied that the prescribed minimum sentence relevant to count number 1, that of 15 years imprisonment, may be departed from. Limited information pertaining accused 2 and 3's financial position, whether they are still active companies or dormant, etc., was put before me. The court largely relied on the agreed sentence between the parties with due regard to the earlier mentioned factors and circumstances. Considering the objectives of Section 105A, the evidence placed before me, and the cumulative effect of sentences, I find that the following to be a just sentence. It must be noted the accused is not sentenced to this. It is now, following the court's reading out of what the court views as just, for the parties to consider whether indeed they agree with the court. Should they agree with the court that this is a just sentence, the parties being the accused person, 1, 2, and 3, as well as the National Prosecuting Authority, the court will only then proceed to convict the accused and then hand down the sentence as the court view just. The sentence viewed as just by this court. Accused 1, count 1, that of fraud, 15 years imprisonment, of which 7 years are suspended for a period of 5 years on condition that 1. The accused does not commit the offence of fraud, theft, corruption in contravention of Section 3 or 4 of the Prevention and Combating of Corrupt Activities Act 12 of 2004, or money laundering in contravention of Section 4, 5, or 6 of the Prevention of Organised Crime Act 121 of 1998 during the period of suspension. The next condition, or the accused at any time upon the request of the state will depose of a statement or statements under oath and testify at all future criminal matters in which he is implicated directly or indirectly, or as the director of accused 2 or accused 3 during the period of suspension. The next condition, or the accused must testify frankly and honestly without withholding any testimony about his involvement in any other person's involvement in all such criminal matters, even where such testimony implicates him in the commission of criminal offences as envisaged by Section 204 of the Criminal Procedure Act during the period of suspension. Or the accused may not refuse to testify in future proceedings or retract any of his formal statements to the investigators during the period of suspension. Or the accused may not leave the Republic of South Africa during the period of suspension. Accused 1, counts 2, 3, and 4, those of corruption. The 3 counts are taken together for the purpose of sentence, and the accused 1 is sentenced to 10 years imprisonment, of which 8 years are to run concurrent with the sentence imposed on count number 1. Counts 5, 6, and 7, money laundering, in respect of accused 1, these counts are taken together for the purpose of sentence. 10 years imprisonment, of which 8 years are to run concurrent with the sentence imposed on count number 1. The net result is a period of 12 years imprisonment. In terms of Section 1031 of Act 60 of 2000, the accused 1 remains unfit to possess a firearm. Accused 2, on count number 1, that of fraud, a fine of 1 million rand, wholly suspended for a period of 5 years on condition that the accused is not convicted of fraud or theft committed during the period of suspension. Accused 2, on count 2, 3, and 4, that of corruption. These counts are taken together for purpose of sentence. A fine of 500,000 rand, wholly suspended for a period of 5 years on condition that accused 2 is not convicted of corruption in contravention of section 3 or 4 of the Prevention of Combating of Corrupt Activities Act 12 of 2004, committed during the period of suspension. In respect of accused 2, counts 5, 6, and 7, that of money laundering, they are taken together for the purpose of sentence. A fine of 500,000 rand, wholly suspended for a period of 5 years on condition that the accused is not convicted of money laundering in contravention of section 4, 5, or 6 of the Prevention of Organised Crime Act 121 of 1998, committed during the period of suspension. In respect of accused number 3, counts 2, 3, and 4 of corruption, it is taken together for the purposes of sentence, and accused 3 is fined to 500,000 rand, wholly suspended for a period of 5 years on condition that accused 3 is not convicted of corruption in contravention of section 3 or 4 of the Prevention of Combating of Corrupt Activities Act 12 of 2004, committed during the period of suspension. In respect of accused 3, counts 5, 6, and 7, that of money laundering, these counts are taken together for the purpose of sentence. Accused 3 is sentenced to a fine of 500,000 rand, wholly suspended for a period of 5 years on condition that the accused is not convicted of money laundering in contravention of section 4 or 5 or 6 of the Prevention of Organised Crime Act 121 of 1998, committed during the period of suspension. That is the sentence the court views just. The parties will now be handed each a copy of this sentence the court views just for them to consider. I will have a short adjournment. You can give me indication if you need more time to consider same, or whether you are in a position then today to have the matter finalized. There's the copy for the state and the copy for the defense. Shall we have, you will give me indication?
Indeed, so Your Worship, obviously we'll seek to consult with the accused person in view of the sentence that the court has just read out. It's obviously not what was anticipated in terms of our agreement, so we will need an opportunity. I'm just not sure because the court indicated that it has another role, the court's availability to accommodate us, or if perhaps I take quick instructions now from the accused, whether we seek more time or we'll be able to deal with it or roll it over to another day for him to consider what has now been imposed. Can I just have
Can I give you 30 minutes to consider this? And if you are ready with your instructions prior to the 30 minutes, you can just give me an indication. I can come back to court.
escort, please?
Thank you. Court adjourned.
We always stand with Mkhwanazi in times like this, but most importantly, we love the fact that he has always come out to protect his name from those criminals. Now, Jabulani show us the clip where he talked about his own side of the story when he met General Senona and Kat Matlala in a hotel.
Matlala was awarded. Mkhwanazi was not in, when the process started, Mkhwanazi was not in the organization at the time. General was the executive authority at the time.
So at least on the face of it, there appeared to be some connection, and so when you miss one digit on two numbers that look almost exactly the same, there's no reason to think that it was done maliciously or with some ulterior motive.
No, definitely there was no ill intention.
Yeah.
That's why we withdrew and made an apology up front.
Now the one person whose name does feature prominently in the WhatsApp exchanges between Mr. Matlala and Mr. Mkhwanazi is Minister Mchunu. And Minister Mchunu had handed up an affidavit that was deposed to by Mr. Matlala, where he says words to the effect that there's no relationship, no connection. I forget the exact wording now, but something to that effect. We'll find the affidavit and read it back to you. But words to that effect. Now, you had subsequently also been handed some information which indicates that that may not have been the case. The impression is created by the affidavit handed up by Minister Mchunu that Matlala almost volunteered to give that information and deposed to an affidavit while he was at Vusimuzi. Now, you have made available to us, which I will ask that they flight a handwritten letter it is in the pack, so Honorable Chair, honorable members, you can see it yourself. It seems to be addressed to Nhlamulo, NHLUMULO -FYI for your attention or for your information, and it's a handwritten letter. Perhaps first just explain how you got this letter into your possession, and whether you know who this person is who wrote the letter or allegedly wrote the letter. Have you verified the contents of this letter? Have you sought to authenticate the letter? Just give us some background to this letter before we go to the relevant parts, please.
Thank you so much, Chair. Honorable Chair, a cousin of mine stays in Johannesburg, and she works in Johannesburg as well. She called me and told me that there is an information of someone in prison in Pretoria that wanted to see me and share information with me. But of course, I was in Durban and I could not just be in Pretoria, but I indicated to her that I'm going to be on my way to Pretoria, so if there's something that you want to share, I can meet up with you somewhere, collect whatever that you have collected and come and give it to me. And we made that arrangement. I traveled to Johannesburg and I met with her at, I think, Woodmead, if I'm not mistaken, and she gave me a handwritten document. And she gave me a bit of a background as to where does this handwritten document come from. So I took that and I was on my way to the Interpol conference in Morocco. I then thought I was going to be able to take time and read it and get to see whether what is written there can be of any assistance to anyone. So that's a background of how I got the letter. When I asked her how she received it herself, she said to me she got it from a gentleman who went to fetch this letter from prison, from a person who wrote it in prison. As you can see, the letter is not addressed to me. It's addressed to someone who I don't even know who the person is. I had to make an inquiry as to who is Nhlamulo. And my cousin then explained to me that Nhlamulo is a member of MK party. I don't know if he's a spokesperson or what title does he have. But the person that wrote the letter is a friend or is a person who grew up with Nhlamulo. So he knows Nhlamulo very well. And as a result, that person was addressing this to Nhlamulo. And apparently the intention was to ask Nhlamulo to bring it to me. But it is said that Nhlamulo was not available. I think he was in Cape Town. And if I'm not mistaken, Nhlamulo would have sent his father to go and meet up with this person. And that's how the father collected this information. And that information was passed to my cousin, and that's how it got to me. So the person wrote like this, and I confirmed her whether can I present this thing before the committee, and he said, yeah, he's willing to testify. He's currently in one of the correctional centers in Gauteng, but no longer in Vusimuzi. And he had even put his name right at the bottom, because I thought we could redact the name in order to protect him. And he said, no, he doesn't mind. He can tell it as is. So that's why we have it here before us.
And this is a convicted prisoner.
I'm not sure of his status, but what I read from here, he said he's been in custody for more than 3 years. So whether he's convicted or not, I've never
A waiting
investigated.
trial for 3 years is a bit long,
There are a lot of people that can be waiting trials for many years in our facilities.
like in the Senzo Mchunu. But so his name appears to be Jermaine Prim. It's right at the end of this letter, just above the digit 8, Jermaine Prim.
Yeah, right at the end is written Jermaine Prim, and he signed it.
Now, this letter is Jermaine Prim, the author of this letter. Is he writing this letter on the basis of information that he is now getting from Matlala?
What I was informed is that this person was in the same correctional facility with Matlala, and he interacted with Matlala throughout the whole process. In a matter of fact, what the information I have is that it was just the two of them in the cell.
Now, you haven't verified this for yourself or through your investigating team or through any investigating team?
Yeah, well, no. I've shared this information with the team in Gauteng as they are investigating some other cases in Gauteng, but not necessarily me, myself, to get involved with that investigation.
Now, you agree that there are a lot of names in this letter?
According to what is written, this man, because I established as to how did he gather the information.
To pay, but it's all news by then. So, and I could see that the whole idea was just, let's tarnish this man's image. And that's all. So that's what they did. They created the doubt. So fast forward, the disciplinary case comes, and I believe I was fair to General Khan. Despite the allegations that came from IPID, I still protected his rights. I allowed him to bring his lawyers in there. I sat and I listened to the evidence that was provided. The very same General Khumalo that was asked to resign was representing the employer. General Khan had his legal team, and there were witnesses that were brought to come and testify. I could not find a single wrong that General Khan has done. In actual fact, I even said there in my own words that the SAPS owes General Khan for what he did, because General Khan stopped police officers that came to collect drugs under the person who was the head of traffic Gauteng. They came to collect a consignment of drugs from the truck that arrived in Germiston, and they wanted to get drugs from there. And the people that are owning the truck company, they said, no, you're not going to take these drugs, search this truck from here, follow it to the final destination, what is in Eratin, which is a West Rand. So 2 police officers, 1 Johannesburg traffic, and 1 captain from Zongezizwe, they followed the truck until it arrived at Eratin, and they were accompanied by 3 members from Pretoria who traveled all the way there. 1 from organized crime, 2 from the dock unit. And they all said they were coming to search the truck, and they actually offloaded the consignment from the truck, which was drugs, in bags. They took this thing and they loaded it in the police car. Luckily, the lady that worked in that company contacted 10111. 10111 called Boysen police station. Boysen vehicle came there, and then there was a conflict between the police when they discovered that these policemen who says they're running these operations, they're already removing this consignment from the truck, they're loading it in the police park. So these policemen asked, but this is a crime scene. Why are you taking this thing from here to here? If you're saying it's drugs, we have not even opened the bags. How do you know? If it is drugs indeed, why do you load them in the park? And this one said, no, we're taking them to Zongezizwe. And this one said, but this is Boysen area. Why do you take this thing to Zongezizwe? It's found here, it's a crime scene. Get LCRC and everyone to deal with it. Then there was a conflict between police at the time, and that police member who was present there took the police vehicle, and he blocked this police car that was already loaded with drugs. He blocked it so that it doesn't move. And that's what allowed the other police officers to phone General Khan and say, there are members that claim to be from crime intelligence, they come and intervene. So he traveled all the way, arrived almost 2 hours later. and he put a stop from these drugs to be stolen. He phoned DPCI, he phoned the local provincial crime intelligence. They came and took over the scene and he left.